Yeah, those of us in business, those of us in employment, we are hurting. Nobody is feeling well. Yesterday, Ken Mijungu hosted the debate on economy, and it was a common, it was a common say that the economy is not doing well. The economy is only doing well to those who are in the government, to those who steal. If you have the opportunity to steal, then you will be very fine. But not all of us were created thieves. Neither are all of us able to convert into thieves. A time has come that we must remember that any position that you hold, all of us occupy positions of leadership in the family, in the church, in a football team, in a netball team, wherever we are. That position that you hold it in trust. And it is on that basis that we need to start combing amongst ourselves and seeing what is the alternative. But before we get to knowing what is the alternative, because that also will cause division amongst us, let us focus on getting rid of the common enemy. Because he's been defeated and we are headed to the dark days. I don't want to imagine how things will be come January. Things will be bad. And next year is going to be tough. We have to tighten the belt. For those of us who have tummies to tie the belt, some of us have lost weight that there's not even no need to having a belt. But I mean, we need to identify that we have a common purpose, stick to the common purpose, forget about the diversion of success of Akinamako Ure or all this person. Everybody's pursuing his or her own interest, but as a people, we must be able to identify this is the destiny that we want for our nation. This is the future we want for our country. And that is what we focus on. Because, guys, these men and women in position are stealing. The stealing is just too much. And that's why earlier I said, God would forgive them if they stole and pumped that money back into the economy. Yeah, put up industries that will give jobs. But here's a case that someone is stealing and stacking that money overseas and no money to circulate. If you go to the counties, for example, the county of Kakamega, the county of Kisumu, I mean, they have not paid services for the last 4 months. Every time they get money, they tell you this is for recurrent expenditure. Every time they get money, this is for recurrent expenditure. But then the argument is, if you receive, for example, 700 million, and for example, your recurrent expenditure is 500 million, 100 million floated into the market, people, the local mamamboga, the local boda guy would feel it. Because once you pay even 20 people only, the boda guy will have a feel of that money. But here is a scenario that we are told that it's only 100 million balance, but then within 2 weeks, the 100 million balance is gone. Why? The guys have squandered it. So we are in a society that we need to sieve through the systems that we have. We need to comb through the structures that we have, because there's a lot of duplication in government. There's a lot of wastage in government. Take, for example, if this government was serious, then they would say, because for a deputy president to fly from Nairobi to Siaya to attend a church function, he doesn't use his money. For the president to fly from Nairobi to Kakamega to attend a church function, he doesn't use his money. He uses public money. And if they are talking of we are economically not doing well, then we need to save the little that we have. Yeah. So I don't want to say too much, but I believe that my focus should be on the commoner. Let us train our guns on the vote. Let our mothers, our sisters, and brothers be aware. We have to convince the hearts of these people that yes, at Kondele you can sing ODM, baba, 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 baba. Fine, no problem. But when it comes to that moment of casting your vote, know that you are giving your life. Know that you are giving the life of your son, the life of your daughter, of your mother, of your wife. You are giving your future, 5 years, at the hands of someone. If you give that to someone who does not value your life, who does not appreciate the gesture that you give him by voting for him, then better keep off. I submit.
Thank you, Linus, for that powerful submission. I see there are a few hands that are up. Wanjiro Redemptor, if you want to chime in, you can go ahead, and then we'll give Brian Runingi Redemptor, go ahead.
Hi.
Thank you.
Oh, sorry.
Wanjiru?
No, Redemptor, you can go ahead first.
Yeah, and Wanjiru, before you, there's something you said that was very important about data, and I just wanted to just make an announcement to the citizens that in the last 6 months they've gathered information from the elders again, and this time they're not giving them the stipend of 4,000; they're giving them 2,000. So I think that was data mining. That is for the intention of voting. So it's just good to be aware. Yes, we are skeptical all the time for a reason. Now it is unfortunate. Anthony has made a submission and left. I want to throw a spanner in the works for him. Milton, I had your very powerful submission, and yes, the reason we still assemble here is because we believe there's a revolution in progress. It lost momentum. I want to believe the pain, the taxes are back. It will pick momentum and probably will have a day greater than 25. Milton seems to be losing his connection, but I wanted to ask a question because Anthony has left. What's between Makaure? Sorry, I have to name names because they mention names. What is the difference between Makauri joining ODM and Anthony joining Wiper? And the reason I'm bringing this is it feels like we are in a corner, we've been backed in a corner, and we are now being told, let's pick the lesser evil again. What we have been told is we are so desperate for a revolution, and not that I'm opposed to the Adani case taking place, but can this Adani case be done out of the goodness of the heart of our leaders wanting to save our country? Or are they going to come back and tell us, okay, if it was not for me, we would not have gone to court, and so here I am, I'm presenting myself as a leader. I have to ask that question because I am loyal to my young people because I had children in the streets of Nairobi. They came to the streets and they said, we are tired of your BS. Sorry, I'm going to use the language they were using. We are tired of your BS, and so we choose to be leaderless, tribeless, partyless, and we are now the opposition. Now we are back to right why our young people died. So someone comes to a space and says, we are going to the streets again, we are going to do this, because we had no option, because we are very broke. The only person with money is Kalonzo, and so he's going to provide for us media. Are we listening to ourselves? We are backed in a corner, the same way young people were backed in the corner and they could not afford a meal. They didn't have jobs. And then they said, we are going to fix this. The older generation, you had the opportunity. What did you do? You aligned yourself with your tribesmen, and the country is now burning. We can't even move. So it's just a caution that yes, we are in spaces to mobilize and organize, but we really do need to know the backstories of some of these conversations. I believe this revolution is going to be renamed. And if you people will give me an opportunity to be part of the people who rename this revolution, it will be called Maskini Jeuri. We are not poor because we are lazy. We are not poor because it's not for lack of trying. The odds are stacked up against us, and the people of Kenya of all ages cannot make a living. And so we are all poor by default, so that now we come every election cycle and say the lesser evil. Let's compromise. You know, they are offering themselves. They have said they'll bring their media vehicles. They are going to cover. And what will they get in return? Bonga points. I'm the one who went to court. Because this case was already there with LSK. Why didn't we support LSK? And take this conversation with LSK and say, this is a body, we trust this body right now. They were there saving our young people when they were being arrested. Sorry, you know, when you come and say you're going to give an unpopular submission and then you leave, then I'm left to talk to everybody else who thinks that we are not taking notes. We've been taking notes from June that we wanted leaderless, tribeless, partyless. Anybody who goes and aligns and becomes partyful, becomes leaderful, becomes now the opposition, is leaving behind the young people who paid the ultimate price to liberate this country. It is also unpopular for me to say we are not there yet. And then people will say, no, how will we get to 2027 without a leader? And I will take back to history and tell you in 2002, when we were sick and tired of being sick and tired, those men who are now compromising and playing games with us, they locked themselves in a conference room in Serena. They came out and they told us, Kibaki Tosha. So I do believe there's an opportunity for that Tosha moment to happen. But until it does, I know, Fabish, you want to keep the momentum and the fire going, and let's go. And I am suggesting and recommending everybody to mobilize at their own level. But when it comes and we are talking about pathing a path to accountable governance, let's just have a sober conversation and say, how did we get here? We got here because these people, they have learned how we think, they have mastered how to play with us, and right now, the borrower becomes a slave to the lender. So if they are the ones who are going to lend us to create awareness of Adanidi, they will demand, we will become a slave. Yet we are struggling to be free. Tomorrow is a big day. I've never come to any of these spaces and told people not to organize, not to mobilize, but I'm just here to have that the two tools that I use are oppression and shaping of narratives. The narratives are being now shaped again, and we are being told we have no choice. We have to follow these old people again because they have systems and structures they already have. So, what are you telling that young man who has never voted? That your vote will not count unless it comes with the big wigs. You know, the same way we talk about big wigs in conversations, now we have the issue of big wigs in terms of the existing political parties and political leaders. That is my unpopular submission. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Redemptor. I like your submission. Actually, yeah, it's true. We need a different types of leadership. It's underscored by the repeated shortcoming of the cycle of the leaders whose long tenure has failed to deliver a lasting progress.